everybody? This is Derek from Eternal Paranormal. This summer, I've got an all-new series out called The Ghostly Encounters, where I conduct one-on-one interviews with different people talking about their paranormal experiences. So if you want to go out on an adventure with me, let's just go see what they got to say. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ghostly Encounters. Today, we are going to be speaking to the Don Victor Santiago. He is an actor, he is an award-winning podcaster, and he has a story to tell everybody about his paranormal ghostly encounter. So without further ado, let's welcome in Don Vic.
Hey, what's up? Thank you, Derek. Appreciate it.
Heck yeah, man. How you doing today? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm good, brother. I'm good.
So I wanted to get you on here because my wife's told me some stories that you had told her about some of your paranormal experiences that you've had. Some might say, like pretty to an extent, like pretty big experience.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call it too expensive, but
So let's break it down. Like, what was your very first paranormal experience that kind of you were like, whoa?
Man, that was a couple years ago when I was, I was in prison. I had a encounter with an identity, if you want to call it. I don't really know what you guys call it because I'm not into the paranormal world, but I know that it was.
What's up, Sean?
It was. Hey, Sean, what's up, buddy? It was a dark force. I would say it was a dark force that came into my cell while I was getting ready for bed, and lights went out, and outside of your cell, you always have a light that's on just to keep light right in front of your cell, just in case the officers come and they want to do count, they can see inside the cell.
Right.
So right before that even happened, I was having a conversation with this buddy of mine across from my cell, Christian guy, going to church. He was talking about God, and he was asking me that I should come into church, that I should, give myself to God and stuff like that. And I was kind of telling him, I believe in God. I just don't go to church. It's not my thing. Me and God got our own understanding and stuff like that. And so we spoke for about an hour before the lights went out. And right after the lights went out, I'm getting ready to go to bed, and so I lay on my bed, sideways, like facing the wall. So right before, like, I closed my eyes, I felt the presence coming through the door, right? And so I look to the side, and I see like this dark, I don't know what you would call it, but it
Like
was
a
like,
mask?
yeah,
Mask?
like a dark mass coming in through my cell. And as I'm looking, it's grabbing the whole wall, and it's just getting dark and dark and dark and dark and dark. So I knew it was nothing good because I started to feel scared. My heart started to pump. And so, I turned back to like my position, like where I was to go sleep. And then it just got dark. And then I felt something right next to me. What it was, I don't know, because I had my back to it. So what I did was I started to pray. I said, God, whatever this is, get it away from me, and I just kept praying, and it went away. And it never came back after that. What it was, I don't know. I know it was, whatever it was, it wasn't good. And it shook me for a while, because that was the first time I ever had that ever happen to me. And then in a place where I couldn't run, I couldn't call for nobody. You know what I mean?
Right. Like
So
you were vulnerable and it knew it, right? Like it knew that you were vulnerable and you had nowhere to go, and it just kind of trapped you, basically.
right. So I don't know right? I always ask myself, was it testing my faith in God?
Yes,
You know,
hundred
or
percent.
what was it really doing there? Um, what was it really doing there? I always ask myself that question, and why me? Out of everybody in that whole cell block, and there must have been more than 50, 60 people, maybe 100 people in that whole cell block, and it chose to come through my door. Um,
Mhm.
why?
I'm
I
wondering if, like you said, it could be something that's testing your faith, because you were explaining that you were just literally talking to somebody about the a Christian man across from your cell, talking about how you need to devote yourself to God,
right.
and this happens, and then you pray, and then it disappears, which tells you right there that God will always be stronger than anything evil on this earth. Is
Amen.
that's the way
Amen.
I feel.
Yeah,
A
amen
lot
to that.
of
I
people
agree.
don't. Yeah, a lot of people don't believe that, but I believe, and I believe in paranormal, obviously, and but I also do believe in Jesus, and He's my Lord and my Savior.
Amen.
But man, that's that's one hell of a testimony, though. I mean, because that just tells you how powerful, our Savior is over anything else. So
Right.
now you were telling me before the show that you had another incident. And I know a lot of people, there's a few people that I've talked to that have had similar things happen to them, and including myself. Do you want to explain that situation that you had?
Uh, so one night I'm sitting at my house. My son is there.
What's up,
My,
Tiffy?
hey Tiffany, my ex girlfriend was there,
Lily's in
and
the
we kind of like had some words. Her and I had some words, and she went to the living room. I went into the room to watch TV, and I laid on my bed. And as I'm laying in my bed, I tried to get up, and I couldn't move.
Mm.
My body was like stuck to the bed, and as I tried with all my might to stand up, and I couldn't stand up, and I couldn't scream out her name or my son's name to come to my rescue, because it was like I I, I was aware, but I couldn't speak and I couldn't move, and that must have happened. I was like that for maybe, like you said, maybe like a minute or 45 seconds, something like that, without being able to move. And I know people say, sometimes your spirit leaves the body, right? And you're laying there, but that wasn't the case for me because I was aware. You know what I'm saying? I was aware. I knew what was happening. So it couldn't have been my, soul leaving my body for a minute for whatever case, and then came back and came back. It felt like something was holding me down.
Right.
Like
Oh,
something was holding me down and I couldn't get up.
yeah. So Alicia, Eternal Paranormal, she's commenting, were you having sleep paralysis? And um, I believe you were already awake and you were already conscious during this.
Yes, I was. I was watching TV. That's the thing. I was watching TV and then I tried to get up and I couldn't get up. I knew I felt everything. I just couldn't speak and I couldn't get up. And it felt like something was holding me down. You know, that's it's weird, right?
Yeah.
And I've always tried to ask myself what could have been that held me down like that. If I felt heavy, like solid, like I couldn't move nothing. I couldn't move nothing. I tried to move my head. My head will move very lightly, and I couldn't speak. And I was like stuck in that position for like 45 minutes to a minute. And then I finally got to move, and I got up, and I was so freaked out, that I ran to the living room and told my girlfriend, said, "Man, I was just stuck in my bed for like a minute, I couldn't move." She started laughing, you know,
Right.
she Yeah, she started laughing, and but I was truly scared at that point because I didn't know what just happened to me.
Hmm. Eternal Paranormal Alicia, she says, so was it like you were in between realms, do you feel
Man, you know what?
like
I can't really say because I'm not.
like this weird dimension, like you just okay, so my question is too, in that moment, if you can remember, like, do you even remember, like, do you remember losing time, or was you still,
I don't know. I can't even remember about the
it's
time.
like,
I just know that I just know I laid down. I laid down after having a conversation with my girlfriend. I had laid down to watch TV, and within seconds of me watching TV, I tried to get up, and I couldn't get up. It was like I was sinking in my bed. You know,
wow,
yeah, it felt like I was sinking, and I tried to get up, and I couldn't get up. But I was conscious. I knew what I knew what was around me. I knew the TV was on. I can hear my girl talking. I can hear everything that was going on
yeah,
in the living room. I just couldn't move, and I couldn't speak.
right. Now she asked, did you think that somebody was like a spirit was taking you over at that time?
I can't really say that.
Right.
It just felt like I was being held down.
Hmm.
I felt like I was being held down, and whatever. I just couldn't get up.
See, that's how I felt too, and I think mine had to do something with, I think they call it sleep paralysis, because me, I'm different than your scenario. I was actually sleeping and I woke up out of a sleep and I couldn't move, but my body
Wow.
was telling me, okay, let's get out of bed, and do your morning thing. And you're trying to move your legs to get up out of the side of the bed. And I couldn't move my legs. I couldn't move my arms for probably about a minute. And it kind of freaked me out. I thought I was paralyzed. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God. And then I don't remember what happened, but I snapped out of it and I was able to move again. But in
See.
those seconds, you're like, holy shit, I can't move. Like, is this what's going on? Like, this ain't normal, you
Right.
know?
See. But in my case, I was up.
Right.
I can see the TV. I can hear my girlfriend and my son talking in the living room. I was awake. You know, I was
Right.
awake, and
Yeah.
and it happened. I felt like I was sinking in my bed, and I couldn't move.
Damn.
And as much as I try to speak out and scream out, nothing was coming out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. You know, that's probably the only two two paranormal experiences that I ever had in my life. Um, and and that's why probably I don't go ghost hunting because I've been asked for so many people, hey, you want to go ghost hunting, and maybe that's why I don't go because I feel like I would attract something, you know.
Right. Like you don't want to invite something in.
Right. I don't, and I think that's why I don't do it. Um, because I just don't want to take that chance. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep.
But I love
Um,
the paranormal. I love the paranormal. I love to hear about it. I love to hear people's stories. I do believe there is a a third world out there besides heaven and hell, and then in between, which is the paranormal. And that's the interesting part of the paranormal because I ask myself, and even in my shows, when I have you guys come on my show, I ask the same question. You know, if if you know, we have a belief that when we die, we either go heaven or hell, right? That's what's been always told from our parents and everyone else. You're going to hell,
right.
you're going to heaven. Nobody says, "Oh, you're going to be stuck in that in the middle." You know, no one talks about the middle, and and what I mean by that is like, well, okay, we got these spirits that you guys talk to, right? And And sometimes they say, oh, because they haven't crossed over because they're not ready or they haven't finished what they started here.
Right.
All right. That's why they haven't crossed over. But then this question comes into play. Okay, if that's the case, then why do we have children and people that are still here from the 1600s? Why haven't they crossed over? Haven't they had an opportunity to finish what they had to finish, to do what they had to do, to cross over?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of questions to this paranormal world that you guys investigate that need answers because, you know, an example, say if I was a person from the 1600s, right, that passed away regardless, and the case was, okay, I had to finish whatever I had to finish here to cross over,
Right.
and I finished it. Why didn't I cross over? Like, won't you want to cross over to, you know, what won't you want to cross over and see what God has to offer than just to say stay here miserable and live in the middle where you can't really communicate with the people you love, you know, and just be a ghost? Like, I just don't get that part.
Right. So for me, in my opinion, what we talk about being in the middle is like a purgatory type place. And so I think when a spirit is like you said, if it's from the 1800s or 1600s, um I don't know if that's a repetitive energy that just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating itself. Um, and I'm not quite sure why that phenomenon of paranormal happens
Right.
scientifically.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never really done a lot of research into it. But I know there's like residual hauntings. And then, you got your poltergeist hauntings when they move cabinets and move and are able to do all that stuff.
Right.
And then you got your demonic hauntings and stuff like that. But the ones that I think you're talking about is like, I think the ones that just need enough energy and just haven't had that person to allow them to help them cross over, and that's why I think that some people on this earth are like sensitives and they're mediums and they can sense spirits. And I think that they try to reach out to these people that have these special abilities to try to help them cross over because they just haven't, had any hope for crossing over. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. So good question. That was good. So now my question is this: when you die, you should have that ability to cross over right away.
Like your conscience. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't have to be in the middle to wait for someone to cross you over. Once you die, you either going to see the light or you're not going to see the light. So if
Right.
you see the light, you should be able to walk to it and don't be afraid to walk towards that light because
Right.
to our understanding, right, from what we hear from our parents, is there's God and hell. You see a light, you follow it, boom. And if you see the light, you should be able to distinguish if it's good or bad.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Why would you
Yeah.
have to wait for someone to cross you over when if you so supposedly when you die, the light's there.
Mm-hmm.
You have an
Well,
opportunity to cross over.
yeah. Yep. And I hope I see the light when I die.
Me too. Me too. I'm running. I'm scared. Listen, I'm flying to the light. You feel me? I
Yeah.
don't want to be stuck in no darkness. No, no,
I'm
no,
gonna
no.
drink a Red Bull and hopefully I grow wings and
I'm gonna be a gargoyle flying to the light, boy. I'm trying to tell you. Okay,
I'll
so
be reeking.
this is why the paranormal to me is so exciting and interesting because there's so many questions, and you're not right and you're not wrong with any of these questions because
Right.
everyone is trying to figure out why.
Yep.
Every trying to figure out, and every answer is it's not the wrong answer. Then again, it's not the right answer. It's like everybody's in like trying to figure out what is the right answers to these questions, because for every right question that you give, there's always another question to it.
Right.
You know,
Marion
uh,
Clark. What's up, Marion?
hi Marion, hi. So that's been my question, that with the paranormal is, why are these people still lingering? You know, centuries, I'm talking about centuries before you and I were even born, and still here. Why haven't they crossed over?
Right.
And some people say, "Oh, they haven't finished. They haven't finished what they started or whatever." But I've been a white. It's been centuries.
Yeah.
It's been centuries, so it just don't fit with me for them to still be lingering and not have time to do what they had to do. And
And
in a
cross.
hundred years, that they've been here, or 200 years, that they haven't still done what they were supposed to do to cross over. So there
Right.
has to be another reason why, besides them not finishing or got to finish what they wanted to do, or whatever the case may be, or why, or some of them don't know that they're dead. You know,
Yeah.
so so okay, so when people say to me, oh, some of them don't know what they did, well, how can't you not know? If you're a spirit, right? If you're a spirit and you're trying to get to me, you're trying to talk to me, right? And you see that I don't engage and hear you, it's not going to take you 100 years to figure out that you're a ghost.
Right.
You see what
Right.
I'm saying? If you're conscious when you're dead or you see things, you should know that you're not living, because
Mm.
the people that you're trying to reach to are not hearing you. They don't see you. They don't hear you. So at one point, you got to figure out that you're not existing. You're not real no more.
Right.
And
And
what do
it's
you
so
do after
weird.
that?
Right. It's so weird because, when you think about life after death, we can just make it a topic, life after death. And you think about it now because you're alive and you're thinking about it.
Right.
When you die, it's like, I would like to interview someone who has actually died and then came back to life. What did you guys see? What did you feel? You know, um, but going back to like how long it takes for you to realize, like, holy shit, like I'm dead. Do you realize it? I mean, because I heard that sudden death impacts, they don't realize that they're dead, you know, and they stay in this, I guess, if I mean, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, a residual haunting, which is like it's repeating itself because it's repeating the last thing that it probably did before it died, type thing, maybe.
Right.
I'm not quite sure because I'm learning this too.
Right.
So,
So now
it's
my
all
question is, so where's the light?
right. So
When does
if
the
you
light when does the
right,
light come in? If
right,
you're repeating constantly, when is the light gonna come and say, hey, you got to come here?
right,
Why is not God reaching out to you and say, hey, you're repeating this, you're supposed to be here with me? And then
right,
you're gonna come here. We're gonna sit you down. We're gonna go through what the good things and the bad things you've done, and then we're gonna
right,
decide if you're gonna stay in heaven or you're gonna stay in hell or you're gonna stay in the middle where you at. So
right,
there's so many questions here, because from what you said now, a person keeps repeating and repeating it. So at what point does the light come in and saves this guy from repeating itself, or the light shows itself to this person, to this spirit, to tell him this is where you need to come?
right. Eternal paranormal, maybe they do not know, like us living, that we don't know to stop repeating the same things that are holding us back, which is a good point. Marion. And
No.
then Marion says, I strongly believe that if the person who was deceased can't cross over until they know that they are forgiven for any wrongdoings they did in life. Which I think, I mean, I can agree with that too. But like you said, it goes down to like, do you see the light instantly as soon as you die? Or,
That's the
because
thing. Right. That's the
soul,
thing.
yeah, because our soul basically never dies.
Right.
Our
So where does it go from here? Where does
right.
it go? It has to go somewhere. It just can't stay lingering. That's my question. Like, when does the light come in at that point when you're deceased? Does it come in when you first die? When you first die, like the movie The Ghost, he died and the light came right away? Or does it take time for the light to come for you to cross over? Like, those are questions that are very hard to answer.
And so
Um,
I think some people might, some people, I'm not saying all, but some people might not even see the light. They might just be in a dark fucking hole, traveling south at 120 mile an hour.
right. And what does that mean? Does that mean that they in hell? Does that mean
Yeah. So
that
what is hell?
they,
Like
does that
that's another thing.
does it
Is
mean that
hell
they, right? Is it
burning?
hell? Is it hell? Is it that they are going to be stuck in that in the middle for the rest of their life? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah. The
So
spirit.
it's a lot of interesting questions and things with the paranormal, and this is why I love the paranormal, because there's so many things that go on in that world. I see you guys put in the voice box where you actually can hear spirits talk, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
but you can hear other voices. So now you're hearing three, four voices talk. Do those people know? Do those voices know that they're there? I mean,
Interacting with each other.
are they interacting? Do they know that they're? You know what I'm saying? Like, do they know that there's three people talking instead of one person? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I was dead and you was dead and you was speaking, and I was a ghost, I know you was speaking through the box, and I'm trying to talk with you through the box. Do you know that I'm there with you, or do I know that I'm there with you? You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. It's
Yep.
crazy.
So I think with my experience as far as using like ghost boxes and stuff like that,
Uh-huh.
when I'm communicating with the spirit and I get direct, intelligent responses,
Right.
then I know I have a spirit's full attention, especially if it has the same tone of voice that comes through that ghost box, then you know that either you're speaking with a male or female. And then
Right.
at this point, you're trying to get a story, right? And why it's there. What is it doing there? We're trying to find out answers. We're trying to help you, and this is what paranormal investigators do. They try to help spirits move on. And I know
Right.
Alicia, that's one thing that she loves to do is just try to help the spirits.
Right.
And but as far as like communicating, but amongst the spirits, amongst like the multi voices and stuff,
Yeah.
um, I've experienced like males overpowering females in some places that I go investigating.
Right.
And I'm not sure if that's because of the dominancy that that place used to have when things were, going on, during like the active hour, like the age where, the shit was
Yeah.
active and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's,
Right.
a good question. But
Right.
I get that quite a bit where a male dominant will speak over a female and the female can't really get a word in.
Right.
It's wild, dude. It's
Yeah.
wild.
See, so I guess we'll know when we get to that side, because
Yeah.
while we still alive, we're gonna have these same questions. We're gonna have different opinions on it, and we're gonna go back and forth on it. And it's interesting.
It
This
is.
paranormal stuff is very interesting. I would love to see upgrades on the paranormal, meaning like really get the voice to come across, because when I hear them in a voice box, you can hear certain words and they're breaking up. You can't really make it out to the point where you can really hear them like you and I are talking.
Right.
That will be a breakthrough. A breakthrough. If anyone can make that happen, where the voices can actually come through the way that you and I are speaking, and
Right.
really get some information, and really get some real information on what's going on that side. You know,
Exactly. I've heard some pretty really amazing EVPs come out of like just a regular handheld recorder. And that's one of the coolest things is like, and it goes back to all the way to old school, you know, that's one of the first things that paranormal investigators use is just a regular digital voice recorder. And when you get that or like a whisper like that,
yeah,
I think that that's one of the coolest, most validating things that you can get in paranormal, you know, in the
yeah,
paranormal field.
right.
Um, Eternal Paranormal Alicia says, do you pick up other people's energies like they are negative or positive, and do you let them in your energy?
I I do pick up on energy because we are energy. We are energy. So I got high tolerance. I got high vibes, right? I got high energy, high vibes. When someone comes around me that's low vibes or got bad energy, I pick that up. And that's when I know if I'm going to even talk to you, even give you an opportunity to even talk to me or come around me because I can already feel the vibes. And that's a gift that, like I was telling you, Derek, earlier, that I got from my family. Because
Yeah,
I am Indian. I got Indian in me, and my ancestors uh, in Puerto Rico were Indians, and so my great grandmother was an Indian. Passed it on to my mother. My mother passed it on to me and my baby sister. My baby sister is a little more into it than I am because she spent more time with my mom and stuff. But I do have certain things that I pick up on certain people, energy, especially any like like vibration. The vibration, I'm really pick up on people's vibration.
right. I know Alicia says that she feels like you have a gift, and that's what you were just talking to me about before that we hopped on the show here. Um, that you just don't really look into it like you know you just never really looked into the gifts that you know you have.
Right,
You just haven't really put a lot of emphasis into that.
right, yeah. I really don't. I know that I feel certain things, especially energy, bad vibes. I pick up on that real right away. Um, but I don't really like get into it like like my mom used to, my grandmom used to get into it. Um, I just live day by day, and if I feel it on someone, then I just don't associate with them. You know, um, at all. I turn the other way. I don't give them. I don't give them my energy. I don't at all. I just don't waste my time.
Hmm. Derek has caught that with everything vaguely. Yeah, yeah. We had a really cool EVP come out of my Book of Spells Ghost Box. Super intelligent spirit that answered intelligently, you know, to a question that Shelley from Everything Vaguely Paranormal had asked. And I just couldn't believe how it was just the sweep rate because it sweeps through radio stations like
Yeah.
the same tone. And you just, you get this question that you ask in that moment at that time. And then the response that comes out of it is direct. Just I have no explanation for it and I can't explain it. And then that's what I call paranormal. But it was
Right.
incredible. I'll have to send that video to you later after the show. But
Right.
it was awesome, dude.
Right. So let me ask you, like, what will be the right questions to ask? What will be like the right questions to ask these phenomenal